The RAM shortage pushed a lot of people into the second-hand market. There are now scalpers and ordinary people who are trying to build a PC that made the second-hand market harder. But history shows that in the second-hand market, you either get blessed or get scammed. One of the two. But to get blessed more often, you have to understand things. And to be honest, the second-hand market is way harder than the new market. Because obviously there are not only new ones, but also old server CPUs and old generation GPUs, and sometimes old hardware can be even better. That's why, because of the scarcity, most beginners rush to the new market and never get the opportunity to go to the second-hand market. But today I'll explain how to build your first PC from the second-hand market and save a lot of money instead of losing it. What to avoid, what not to do, and all that. Let's get started. Alright, first of all, you have to understand that buying from the second-hand market doesn't mean you're poor or a beggar. If you look at it without arrogance, buying PC parts from the second-hand market is completely normal and sometimes even a good financial decision. And actually, I don't know where you are from or where exactly you live, because people watch my videos from more than 150 countries. But I know that most countries have both online and offline second-hand markets, and I recommend paying attention to all of them. If you're from South or North America, you'll most likely use eBay, Facebook Marketplace, or other services. But if you're from Europe, then it might be your local marketplace like OLX, or global ones like Amazon Renewed. From what I've researched, most Europeans use their local services. In Asia, Australia, and Africa, the situation is the same. But the fact that everybody has not only one but multiple second-hand markets is true. And the first advice I want to give you is to always search and look for components across every second-hand market you have. In America, it might be like Craigslist or even some subreddits related to hardware swap. And if you also have offline second-hand markets, don't skip them either. And there are two general advices that I wanted to give you. First of all, if you're buying something from the second-hand market, always look at the seller's profile. Seller's profile gives you some kind of basic information about the product. If it's a profile full of PC components, it's most likely scalpers, and they are most likely trying to sell the RAM that they bought for a cheap price. That's especially important when you're trying to buy a GPU, because to know if that person is trustworthy or not, you should look for their profile first. And if you find that person has several categories of the products, then that might be just a regular worker trying to sell his video card and upgrade his PC. The chances that you will get scammed from them is less likely. So that's why it's the important point here. And the second general advice is always test any component directly in person, especially at their house. There shouldn't be any excuses here, because by checking the component in their house, there's less chance that you'll get scammed, otherwise you know their address. If the seller is telling you that they will come to your house or they're gonna test the component in cafe or somewhere else, you should walk away from that offer. It's probably just a scammer who's trying to trick you. But okay, I hope you understand the basic rules. Now let's move on to budget allocation part. Alright, let's say you have around $500 or $1,000 and you want to build a PC from the second-hand market after watching this video. But first of all, you don't exactly know where to start, how much money you should spend on a specific component, and all that. Here's how budget allocation helps. But the big problem is here, from my previous videos about building a PC guide, you probably know how to allocate budget for a new market. However, in a second-hand market, this rule doesn't work. Especially those parts where I said you should buy a SSD for 7% or 3% for a cooler, because in the second-hand market, most PC part prices fluctuates a lot. But then how do we solve this problem, you might ask? Here is a simple rule. There are computer parts I don't really recommend buying from the second-hand market. I'll tell you about it later, but the thing is, you have to buy them first, and then divide your budget based on the money you have left. Usually half of the budget goes to the GPU, but it's not always like that. You should consider that. I know that sounds hard, but buying from the second-hand market is a skill you master over time, just like developing software. That's why today's sponsor actually makes sense here. Boot.dev. Learning skills from scratch is hard when you're bored. That's why most people quit. Boot.dev makes learning feel more like a game than a lecture. You actually code, solve problems, earn XP, and level up while building real backend projects in Python, SQL, Go, or TypeScript. It's very hands-on, very practical, and honestly closer to how real developers learn on the job. Plus, you get an AI tutor called Boots that doesn't just give answers, but helps you think when you're stuck, which is exactly how you actually learn. So, if you're serious about learning a real, valuable skill in the right way, check out boot.dev. Use my code AMAN for 20% off your first year. Link and QR code are on the screen and in the description. Now let's get back to the main topic. Alright, let's start with the most hardest component in the secondhand market. My viewers are mostly gamers. That's why first of all, I start with the GPU. If in the new market there are several options like RTX 30 series, 40 series or 50 series, in the secondhand market you can find even GTX series. So the question is, how to find a GPU if the options are many? Here's the important rule. Don't listen to everyone. Instead, look at the real performance of the GPU. Just open the YouTube, type in the search bar RTX 2080 versus RX 6800, and then watch the real benchmarks of the games. How many FPS the specific video card can show or something like that. I hope you can tell that. But there might be another problem. If there's a lot of video cards, how do you know what price range you should look in? Because you may want both RTX 3060 and GTX 5080 or something. And the difference is, the price gap is huge. One might cost you a whole PC, while others might create a bottleneck with your processor. Here comes simple math. Most of the time, you allocate about 40 or 50% of the budget for GPU. But note, it shouldn't be fixed. You always can add up the specific price if you like the certain GPU, or maybe reduce for the sake of the other components. After allocating your budget, you're gonna see a lot of video cards, and then remember, buying a GPU from the secondhand market is the riskiest thing you can do. And actually, even if I could give you some advices, there's always chances that you get scammed. Yeah, that's true. But at least you have a chance to reduce the chance of getting scammed if you choose something correctly. Let me explain. First of all, before buying, look at the price and compare it with a new one. If the price is too good to be true, immediately run from that listing. Since if the price is too low, that might be just a mousetrap for beginners like you. And if you actually found good listing, which you will probably will, you have to ask necessary questions before going to test it. And that's questions like, was it used for mining? How long was it used? Was it overclocked or undervolted? Any repair or BIOS modes? Or can you test it in person? Those questions will define if that video card is good for you or you should walk away from that. And when it comes to the last question, can you test in person? That should be always yes, without any excuses and without any negotiations, especially in video card. If the person refuses, then there are always another deals. But if the person agrees and everything goes right, then you have to use programs like GPU-Z to check if that's fake or a real video card, because sometimes some video cards might be from the AliExpress or from the Chinese marketplaces. In those marketplaces, it's very common to find a video cards that visually looks like a RTX 3060, 3070, but in terms of testing, it's always like an AMD video card or something lower in terms of performance. And the second program you should use for testing is a ForMark. This program is designed for testing its temperature and if that video card has artifacts. Because that program loads your video card at max and you can see if there's an artifacts or high degrees. And the signs of the good GPU looks like this. First of all, GPU-Z specs match with the model that listed on the listing. And especially no artifacts, lines, flickers, or some dots on the ForMark. You can notice that easily with your eyes. You don't need to be sharp-eyed or observant to notice that. And then you can move on to visual test. At this point, it's not really hard. From the visual side, if the fan spin normally, no grinding noise, then everything is fine. And the video card shouldn't be burned. Because the burning signs means that video card wasn't mining. But mining is not always bad because some people can mine and at the same time serve that video card good. Just ask questions, when was the last update of the thermal paste and all that. You can also check GPU mounting screws. Sometimes they might give you some signs that GPU was opened. And if that opened, that means two things. First of all, it repaired several times. The second, it just opened for serving and replacing the thermal paste. If that's a second option, that's fine. But you somehow define that video card was in a repairment, then I recommend you run from that seller. And if everything goes right after all the things that I said earlier, then there's a last rule. When you're coming close to the buying the component, it's very important to bargain the price. I don't know why people don't do that, because that's the sweetest part of the secondhand market. Alright, after choosing a GPU, the second hardest part is choosing a CPU. In terms of actual choosing an online secondhand market, CPU is probably hardest because there are a lot of GPU types, but actually you can test it on YouTube compared to CPU, since there are not many CPU benchmarks on YouTube. But again, when it comes to CPU, if you don't know what range to look at, always look for CPUs that cost half the price of your GPU. That might be around 20 or 25% out of your budget. On the other hand, it shouldn't be tightly fixed. If you're willing to compromise with other parts, then make it. It's up to you. And the second important thing for looking at CPU. You have to look for a CPU that's compatible with your GPU. And actually you can check that on YouTube again, just typing things like, for example, Ryzen 3600 plus RTX 2060. And after that on the video, mostly GPU should load at 99% and CPU should rest kinda. Let's say around 40 or 30%. That means your GPU and CPU compatible with each other, and you can try to buy that CPU. If you found a deal or good listing, again ask the question to know the personality of the seller and actually lower the risk of getting scammed. And if there's no condition for testing that CPU, that will kinda be a gambling, so I don't really recommend even consider that. In my personal opinion and in my personal case, every seller should have something to test on, and in my experience, they most likely do. After knowing the address and coming home to the seller, you should use programs like CPU-Z and AIDA64. Those programs can help you define again if that CPU is fake or not, and the maximum performance and load in a critical situation. After that, of course, don't leave the house without at least one bargain. Try to reduce the price. Alright, let's say you chose your GPU and CPU. After that, the third thing might be a motherboard, which sounds kinda hard for beginners, but in reality it's not. To be clear, to choose a motherboard, you don't need any budget allocation. The most important rule is motherboard should work, and that's fine. Just put the CPU socket in the secondhand market filters and look for the cheapest model, but don't rush about it, because if you found the cheapest model, you should always look for the important several things. That is things like I/O panel, you have to check what connectors it has and what exactly you need. For example, it's a Type-C, USB 3, USB 2 connectors, or optionally if there's Wi-Fi or Bluetooth for your devices. It's not really important though. And after that, you can use Google or ChatGPT for researching its limitations, because some motherboards can have less RAM frequencies supported, or some motherboards might support only 64GB of RAM, while you might have, I don't know, 128. It's probably rare, so you can look for it at the last second. And if you found a suitable motherboard with a good listing, you can usually buy it without worrying too much. Most likely motherboards won't be damaged unless the VRM area is burned, or if it's AM5 or LGA, the contacts are damaged. But actually, you can define that visually. That's why you can buy it, the risk is pretty low. Alright, the fourth important component is RAM. Yeah, I know, today's situation is kinda complicated about it, so note, it might be expensive. However, if we remove all the concerns, the universal advice looks like this. First of all, define how much RAM you need. Is it 8GB or 16GB or 32GB or even more? Because you know, 8GB is not enough for gaming nowadays. While 16GB is kinda sweet spot for every gaming, but if you like multitasking while gaming, for example streaming or editing videos, I don't know, then 30GB is kinda sweet spot today. If you use editing programs, for example After Effects or Premiere Pro, I warn you that 32GB is still not enough, especially if your operating system is Windows and your browser is Chrome. They eat up so much RAM, trust me. And the next spec you have to look for is whether it's a DDR3 or DDR4 or DDR5. Those are important because nowadays DDR3 is kinda outdated, while DDR4 is good still for gaming, and DDR5 is sweet spot and the most expensive one, especially today when demand is high. And when it comes to risk, RAM compared to other components is not really risky to choose. RAM is the most durable component, so don't worry about its longevity. It can survive several upgrades and hard conditions, so capabilities of RAM is huge. It's like a tardigrade of the components. Probably survives World War III even. Just make sure that the RAM is bootable so you can see the real specs, and make sure the seller isn't scamming you. It should be the exact model, the exact frequency, and the exact size. And for testing, just boot the system, open the BIOS, and you'll see. Next, for storing your stuff like games, files, or anything else, you need storage. But the thing is, right now, storage problem is the same as RAM problem. Right now, because of the AI and the data centers, demand is high while the supply is low. That's why SSDs, HDDs, and RAMs are pretty expensive. So in this case, I would say buy from the new market only 6 months from now. But obviously, it's hard as fuck. So at the moment, we can make an excuse and buy RAM from the secondhand market. But be careful, there's some risks, you have to check it up. For example, things like worn out RAM or HDD or some kind of noisier HDD. That's why while buying an SSD, if you found a suitable SSD, you have to look for the brand. And it must be from the popular brands, because if you buy from some Chinese no-name brand, you can definitely lose your money. That's why I highly recommend you buying from the brands like Samsung, WD, Crucial, or something like that. And of course, while buying from the seller, without any excuses, check if that boots, and most importantly, health of the RAM. To check if that RAM is in a good condition, you have to install the app called Crystal Disk Info. In the Crystal Disk Info, you can see in what condition that SSD is and what kind of problems that SSD have. And on top of that, some information about the temperature. Of course, it's not actual deal breaker, but you have to check that anyway. And then if everything goes right, don't forget to bargain all the time. And especially with the memory conditions right now, it's important to bargain. Remember that. Just don't be too sneaky though. Alright, I hope you understand how to choose main components of the PC. Now we have to move on to the less expensive but no less important parts of the PC. And those are things like a PSU, CPU cooler, and case. And I'm gonna start with telling you that you shouldn't have to buy a PSU from the secondhand market as a beginner. I'm not telling you it's forbidden in the secondhand market, it's just dangerous for beginners. You know, today it's pretty hard to predict how much is gonna last the specific PSU. And PSU itself is a dangerous component of the computer, because if something happens with the PSU, that's gonna take all of your PC components, especially the most expensive ones like a GPU, CPU, and motherboard. So I don't really want you to make one mistake and burn your PC entirely. That's why never ever save money for your PSU. It's better to buy a PSU from the reseller store or a market with the guarantee and with official documents. Because in case if something happens, you can always complain about it to the market simply because you have official right to that. Well, in the secondhand market, you will buy, and then if that burns after 3 months, you have nobody to tell and you don't have a PC anymore. That's why it's the most important rule here. And the next thing is probably not a rule but a recommendation from me. If you're trying to buy a cooler from the secondhand market, I don't really recommend you to do that. Because to be clear, if you compare market prices and the secondhand market prices for the CPU cooler, then you might see no differences there. Because most of the time, it's the cheapest component of your PC. And it's always better to buy a new one. You'll not lose anything from that. That's it. I can also include PC case here. You know, PC case is not always expensive. That's why not buy it from the new market? Especially in the new market, you'll always buy a new clean case without a single scratch. And probably for the same price. To sum it up, the secondhand market is not something to be scared of. It's something to understand. If you take your time, test everything properly, ask the right questions, and don't rush decisions, you can build a solid PC for much less money. The key rules are simple. Never trust words, always trust tests, compare prices, and remember that there are always another deal. Hope this guide helped, especially now when the new market is kinda messy. For those who stayed till the end, I've created a Discord server as a backup for the channel and a place for behind the scenes stuff. It has regular chat and voice channels. It's still a bit raw, but we'll build it step by step. Link is under the video. Now, thanks for watching and take care.